Hello, and welcome to the Warp Shelf. I'm Frank Duran.
I'm Deshaun Vasquez.
And today, two artists reach into the giant pile of, if you would say movies, would you say books, would you say comic books, the media in general.
Games, anything that moves you.
Anything that moves you, makes you feel something, we're going to talk about it. But today it's Halloween, guys. We've been off because I'm obviously in a new space. I moved to Manchester, New Hampshire. I got my first house, so woo. But it means that there's lots and lots to do because I can't afford a nice house. So so we have to make it nice because I'm poor. You gotta work at it. And so I don't have the official setup yet. You can tell I don't have an actual warp shelf behind me, but I tried to set up this little corner that I use to do my Gundams and to be able to actually record for October because the warp shelf, we're horror fans, like almost first and foremost.
Busy or not, it would have sucked to go by October without at least one horror episode.
Right, at least one. So we're gonna talk about actually the highest grossing horror movie of this year, Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Peele's big kind of finishing a trilogy of horror here. We have of course the literal thing that made him like all of a sudden everyone was like he needs to direct everything. Sorry, I can't Get Out. And then there was Us, which I think we did a review of Us. I'm pretty sure if you go back our almost 200 episodes, you can find an episode where we talked about it.
It'd be weird if we didn't, because we did go see it together. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, we definitely did this, but it's guys, it's been a lot of episodes. I don't remember every single one. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But go back, listen to that one, get our thoughts on Us, and we're coming back to Nope. I was very excited for this film. I know you saw it in theaters.
I did, and I've seen it twice since then.
Nice. And I think that this is a very rewatchable movie. I think that this is so first off, I want to say, guys, we can't talk about this movie. You couldn't even advertise this movie without spoiling it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah,
so
even posted on the socials and warned you about it. It's just like, look, I'm posting about all the horror movies I'm watching with my buddy Alex. Nope is one of them. I'm gonna post a somewhat spoilery image, so watch the movie.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the hard part about advertising this movie is that they were trying to JJ it and keep it very secret, try to JJ Abrams and just be like, no, you know nothing about this movie except who's in it and what it sort of looks like, from just an aesthetic standpoint. But otherwise, you don't know really anything. You just see horses, people running away from something big. That was most of the trailers. So guys, I want to give it right off the bat. Go watch the movie and then come back to our review. This is going to be spoiler filled because I literally can't talk about the things I loved about this movie without being like, here's the whole fucking movie,
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like you can't talk about Jaws really without spoiling Jaws, and you can't talk about Cloverfield without spoiling Cloverfield, when we're talking about, and guys, so spoiler, if we're talking about kaiju movies, which this fucking is, which is why I'm sure Deshaun was like, please go watch Nope, Frank. I'm sure you're gonna love it. And I did. Because I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, UFO movie. And then when they were when it started moving funny in the clouds, when they did the first, running away from it, I was like, oh, it's alive. That's not a UFO.
Yeah, it's not a machine. It's an animal.
And that's when I went from being like, I really like this movie to being like, I think I love this movie. I was like, I think I love this. And there's lots to love in this movie other than it just being a kaiju, because I feel like Jordan Peele is trying to say a lot with this movie. I mean, he's trying to say a lot in every one of his movies. Get Out was a huge statement piece of a film, and then Us was just an allegory, like it was trying to
One
say
big feature-length Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, exactly. And thank God that feeling is gone for Nope, I want to say. Like, that feeling of, like, you're watching a Twilight Zone episode, like, that's just, weird. Like, this is, I say there's a lot of parallels to a lot of other movies, and Jordan Peele says it in interviews. He, like, talks about the movies that influence this, and I think right off the bat is the main connection. This is a Jaws remake. Like, this is a Jaws movie. This is this is literally and you can kind of see it in a lot of what they do here, but like a lot of the Jaws references are here. I mean, first off, you have the exploding canisters. That's what blows up the creature. Jaws. That's what blows up. What is it? Jacket. What's it called?
Jean
again?
Jacket.
Jean Jacket. I thought that was great though, just calling it like Jean Jacket. Like it's cute, Like I'm like, all right, that's cute. I like that. But like and not only does it have a love for Jaws and kind of follows that template of Jaws, it also it's got, this whole movie's got a huge love for Spielberg. If that's one thing I want you to go in and realize while watching this movie, is how much of a love letter to Spielberg this really is.
Yeah, and in the best way possible. It's not in sort of like the shallow, overly sentimental way, and like kind of ironically a J.J. Abrams way.
Yes,
it feels
not Super
more
88.
Like
it's not. Yeah, go ahead.
And it's definitely like early filmography Spielberg, where it's just like, yeah, there's this sense of awe and the sense of like scale and wonder, but there's also still some teeth.
Yes. Yeah, like people are going to die. Like, exactly. Instead of being like, it's all okay, everyone survived. You're like,
And he mended his relationship with his dad.
Yeah.
Because Spielberg is still trying.
Yeah, right. He's like, I still want to say something with my dad, and you're like, yeah, we know Spielberg, we know. But not only is it Jaws, it's very much, of course, when we're dealing with aliens, encounters of the third kind.
Yeah, Close Encounters.
Close Encounters, because they even say the line, like they even do when they start cranking the film, they're like, it's here. Like Angel drops the line, and I thought that was great. I thought that was because it's like one of those things that it's such an iconic line, and for them to not cheese it up, like he's not even on screen saying it. It's like they start cranking it, they start moving towards it, and you just hear, it's here. And I just loved that. I thought that was a perfect way to reference that movie without being like, you get it? You get my reference? And you're just like, but when we talk, I'm of course bringing up Spielberg, but really we got to break it down to what he's really saying here with this movie, is that this is about spectacle. This whole movie is about humans and their desire, almost deadly desire for spectacle. It's almost a big mirror on the moviegoer, like this movie is basically being like, hey, you've come to sat down to watch a spectacle. You didn't even know what you were going to see. You didn't even know what you were going for. Same as the characters. They really didn't know what they were hunting down or trying to get on camera, and they still chased it. And not only, we lose the director because he like wants the perfect shot. He wants the perfect spectacle. He wants the magic, he wants the impossible shot. It's like we get, like we have Juby's, the whole park being like a spectacle of what the West was, and kind of like Hollywood's bastardization of the West.
Yeah, of just the Wild West in general, which has never been all that historically accurate.
No, it's first off whitewashed, and they
Oh yeah.
specifically bring that up in this movie. How like you're like how is there you're like Hollywood shows no black cowboys. How would that be possible? You know, like you're like how you're like guys numbers
And
wise that's
it's
insane.
it's been so heavily mythologized. Just like
Right?
the legend of basically like the gun-toting gunslinger. Not really so much a thing. We also never talk about how like brothels kind of ran the West in the
Yes,
day.
right.
Which
And
that's a
like
story I want to see. That's a movie I
right.
want to see.
You got madams basically running towns, you know, like
Hmm.
because they run the brothels. They're like, okay, I'll take care of the rest of the town. They're basically mayors, you know, like, and
Hmm.
you're just like, and they take that away from women, same as they take away all these, you know, black cowboys. So you're just like, you're just
Yeah,
erased.
I think the closest thing I could think of that actually tackled the whole like brothels place in the Wild West was probably the one Firefly episode. Like that's it.
No, they've done it in a few movies. Oh my god, why am I only thinking of Cowboys and Aliens with Megan Fox? But no, there's other movies that no, Jonah Hex. That's a terrible movie. Talk about two terrible movies in a row. But they have strong like brothel madams who like lead the roles, and you're like, why's it got to be in this bad movie? Like you're like, but the spectacle keeps going on. The theme of like humans chasing a spectacle keeps going on. It's in the like kind of whitewashing of the West. The number one thing, of course, and the scariest moment in the whole movie is them. I can't remember the show. What is the show's name? The monkey name. The Grokey.
Oh, Gordy.
Gordy. Thank you. I was like, it's a G. Gordy's the show that is I keep being referenced back to the whole movie that Jody and his kind of like lived through, you know, like Stephen Yu's character lived through this like horrible animal getting loose and killing everybody on set. Scariest moment in the whole movie is watching that whole scene. I think that's the most effective scene in this entire movie is that just staying under the table with him as he watches the monkey do its thing is horrifying. Straight up. Like I was like this I was like, like I was like, Jordan Peele, you son of a bitch, this is frightening. Like I was like,
Yep.
this will scare people away
That
from
was
monkeys forever. Like,
the whole like Gordy subplot coming out of the movie the first time was just like that's going to be the one thing I feel like people are going to either not get or misinterpret.
because really, yes, if we get down to it, we're still talking about spectacle. Is that they wanted not just another actor on screen, they wanted a monkey. You know, like it was like, oh, not only it's like the father's an astronaut, but that's not enough for the show. You got to have them living with a monkey, you know, like and it's kind of one of those things that they pushed a monkey too far, you know, same as you kind of push these horses too far in the movie and like and of course then Jean Jacket, you know, you're like pushing them, you know, like and it's kind of one of those things that it's hard because it's one of those things that they can't be tamed, you know, like you can't actually tame a predator is really it. You need to, they say it in the movie, you need to like make a deal with it, you know, like you gotta like become friends with it. You gotta like, you know, like there has to be an exchange because it's not a cat or a dog, you know, like it is a predator. You know, like this thing will hurt you. And I think that the Gordy subplot's great because it's like everyone's always like, haha, monkey. But you're like, you forget this is a chimpanzee and literally could do this. You know, like it kind of seems like an exaggerated scene, but literally, like no one could do anything if a chimpanzee fucking lost it in like a group of people.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
even like, even Jupe, which I think his name is Jupe.
Yeah, I'm like,
even
am I just calling him Jupe? I'm like, I don't mean to do that.
Even
you.
he mythologized that moment in the wrong way. Like he
Yes.
sees it like the way he's idolize the moment. Like you have like that image of the shoe, which I think is a great image because it's about just like it's just a weird phenomenon that the shoe is standing up. But it's
Well,
just
they
like,
talk
no,
about
there's
it,
something more to it.
bad miracles, you know, like is
Yeah.
that there, it's like they say it in the movie, bad miracles, because there's such thing, you know, not every miracle is like, wow, that's fantastic. Not every miracle is somebody coming back to life from like almost dying, you know, like some miracles are just like this, where it's like, yeah, something is living above their farm, and it killed their dad, it's fucking up their farm, you know, like it's killing people, like that's a bad miracle, you know.
Mhm.
Like like
Well, it's
the shoe
the
being
way
up is a perfect like encapsulation of that bad miracle, where something bad is going on, but he can't
Mhm.
help but look at this shoe just standing up in the middle, you know, like, and you're just like, ooh,
Yeah, and it speaks to the whole, like, the way you might mythologize or idolize a particular moment or look too far into something that really has no explanation or the explanation isn't all that interesting. But no, he
right.
idolizes the moment. He keeps the shoe in a glass case because it's like, no, it couldn't just be a phenomenon. This means something. Just
Yes.
like, oh, Gordy not killing me means something. It's just like, no. And this is something I didn't notice until the second time I watched. It's like,
Is
no, the
that he
reason
doesn't
Gordy
look him in
didn't
the eyes. He
he
doesn't
doesn't
look
look
him
him
in
in
the
the
eye.
eyes because it had the tablecloth in front of him.
Yup, I love that. Like, is that the like he? So what I love about the him mythologizing this moment is that he first off shoves the trauma down with the SNL skit. Like SNL skit helps him process it. You know, like he doesn't say how the event goes. He explains an SNL skit and kind of gets really into it. So he's kind of replaced the bad memory in his mind with the SNL skit, you know, like he's just like, nope, that's better to think about. But also he gives the fist bump to him at the end. So he feels like he was the only one who like Gordy wouldn't kill. Like he felt like
Mhm.
he tamed Gordy somehow, you know, like,
Yeah.
and but that's definitely not true. It's the table blocking his eyes, you know, like, and it's funny, the sign language, I looked it up, the sign language Gordy says to him is when he giving him the sign language before the fist bump is he says, what happened to family? You know, like that's the sign language he's saying to little Juby, and you're like, oh god, that just proves it, you know, like, is that like he's a very sentient predator, you know, like, and he just basically pushed too far, you know, like it's like he's a good monkey, you know, like, and it just got pushed so far, and
Mm.
uh you know, like, and definitely just it's so sad because it's such a sad moment, because it's like one of those things that we as humans think we're the top of the food chain, and all it takes is moments like this, or they bring it up in the movie Siegfried and Roy,
Mhm.
to be like, no, like, even when we're dealing with these dangerous creatures, we think we're the top predators, and nope, no.
No. Literally, nope.
Yeah, literally, nope. And I think it's important that, of course, he thinks he can tame Jean Jacket. You know, he thinks he can just do a show by feeding horses to Jean Jacket, and you're like, holy shit, dude, you did
Yeah, in the same
not
way that you
tame
could be
that
like
monkey, like,
yeah, in the same way that it would be like trying to tame like a cougar in the wild or
right,
some sort of big cat where it's just like, let's just toss it in and, it'll definitely focus on the bait. It won't mess with us.
right.
We
I
have
mean,
everything under control.
it's sort of another Jaws parallel. It's sort of like when all the fishermen show up and they start dumping like chum into the water, and they start
Mhm.
catching a bunch of other sharks. And you're like, you literally just took away the food from Jaws. You took all these little sharks he was eating away, and now you have a hungry fucking shark instead of like you know, it's like you're working with just him being fed. It's like they took away his food, and it sort of happens here with Nope, is that like uh Juby doesn't realize that how pissed off Jean Jacket is, and he's just doing the normal thing. So he's like coming into the situation acting all normal with it, and Jean Jacket's all pissed off because he sucked up a plastic horse, like
Hmm.
he's like, fuck that. I ain't sucking up no more plastic horses. I'm gonna kill these guys. And you're just like, no, Jean Jacket, don't do it.
It is funny that like the best shark movies are the ones that don't have sharks in them that aren't
Yeah.
Jaws.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting with just the design of Jean Jacket, because it's
Hmm.
very much jellyfish, manta ray, but also, and Jordan Peele even said this was the way. It is straight up an angel from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Like, it
Yeah.
is straight up. Even the middle square popping out at the end, I immediately was like, Evangelion? Like, I was like, he already made an Akira reference, so this isn't wild, Like, this isn't a wild thing. And it really
Even
is.
beyond
The
that,
way it, like, folds, it's like, you're like, oh, that's an angel from Evangelion.
even beyond that, like it also does sort of like resemble old like biblical art of biblically
Yeah.
accurate angels to begin with, which also has its own implications. You're just like, okay, that seems to imply that this creature, or maybe there are others, have been here for a very, very long time, and humanity has probably encountered them before and then mythologized them after the fact as
Right?
something else, which is again part of the issue.
I really, I mean, mostly I saw those scenes and I was like, give Jordan Peele the Evangelion movie, the live action. I was like, do it. I know they were trying to give him the Akira movie and he turned it down. So I don't know if he will do something like that, something big budget like an Evangelion movie, but that would be. Saw the angel and I was immediately like, he could do it. He could fucking do it. Like, I was like, he could definitely do this movie, like, and do it well. But yeah, I already said it, the Akira slide. There's a lot of like anime. There's a lot of references to a lot of media in this. I feel like not only.
I think it would help that I didn't know the Akira slide was coming in.
Yeah.
Because as far as advertising went, like I only really watched that initial teaser and then like never went out of my way to watch anything else. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're trying to be vague, and I liked your first two movies, so it's not like you have to sell me
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, right. The selling is over.
I
I
didn't
will
know
go.
the Akira slide was going to be in it. I'm like, ha, nice.
I knew because of the commercials. Like, I told you that, and you were like, I didn't even see the commercials, and I was like, oh, like, because I remember all the commercials end with her like, and which. By the way, I know I'm off topic, guys. If you listen to the podcast, ADHD. But Keke fucking Palmer in this movie. She's so good. Like, I thought, of course, I'm blank. I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name.
Kaluuya.
Yeah, Daniel Kaluuya.
Which is funny because
he's great.
I'm in the middle of a Doctor Who rewatch right now because I got a friend into it. And we went through all the David Tennant specials at the end, and I always forget that a young Daniel Kaluuya is in Planet of the Dead. He's a fucking baby in that.
Right? He's so little in that. I remember being like, I know him. Like, when I saw that episode, I was like, I know that man. Now that just proves the Doctor Who pipeline is serious. It's like, after the Harry Potter pipeline, they had to have something else to get people.
Oh yeah, we saw Felicity Jones. We watched The Waters of Mars as well, and Gemma Chan's in that before her career really blew up.
James Corden, like the guy from the British Baking Show as the egg guy, like it's serious.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. But I think that he's of course fantastic. I feel like of course he earned his Oscar before. He's undeniable in this, like he's just that character, like he's like no question, he's just blends in. I think I love Keke Palmer in this though.
His character is an entire mood, to be honest. Like he is very like understated, very pragmatic, kind of a little bit antisocial, like kind of gets anxious around like large groups of people, kind of relates more to the animals that he takes care of. And it's just like, wow, I totally get this whole dude's vibe just with the way he was acting on the set, like trying to be pertinent about like, guys, don't mess with the horses, be careful.
Well, I wanted to bring that scene
talk
up.
to him a bit.
I wanted to bring that scene up because that's an important scene because it's more Jordan Peele talking to the audience. That whole scene, he doesn't look anybody on the set in the eyes, same as the other predators, the jean jacket and the horses. It's like he knows not to look them in the eye because Hollywood is a fucking predator. Like, is basically what. So like jean jacket is this great analogy of like of it swallows these things and spits them out. Like these things that it doesn't need, like keys, metal bits, a tractor, it spits them out. It only wants the the meaty parts. Hollywood is a very similar monster. Like, and that's kind of what he's saying here is that Hollywood will chew you up and spit you out. And I thought it was interesting, the movie they were working on, because it's like got this older star and, you know, and they're obviously hyping her up, but like, it's just this very empty set, you know, like where it's very much like, and then even that one little kick from the horse and they immediately throw him out, you know, like they're like, oh, nope, horse is dangerous, you know, like, and they immediately bring in the CGI horse. And even though nothing really happened, you know, like nothing, it was like a bucket got kicked, you know, like that was it. And I think that's, you know, like, the kind of the thing going on there is he's saying already that Hollywood is this predator, you know, like, and it will eat you, like, and it will spit you out, like, and you're just like, oh geez.
Yeah.
Like,
even with Michael Wincott's character, when we find him in his very fancy little editing
love
suite.
him. By the way, he's my favorite part of the movie. Like I was like, yes. The minute he started talking, I was like, yes. And
yeah, I've like forgotten how much I missed him because I don't really see him in much now.
Yeah,
I was just like, you and that distinctive voice. I will always have his performance in The Crow burned into my mind.
And then I'm speaking of great actors just like slammed into this movie, Keith, David, right at the beginning, and then they kill him, and I was like, no. Like, I was like,
come on.
I was like, no, keep Sarge here. I was like, no, Sarge can keep talking. Like, sorry, I only refer to him as Sarge from Halo, so that's all I'm gonna. Like, that's all.
Sarge. I think you're thinking of the Arbiter.
Arbiter. Sorry, yes, he's the Arbiter. Sorry, my bad. I did mess that up. But that is what I'm thinking of, and that's what I thought of the minute he started talking. I was like, aha, Halo. Like, I was like, there you go. But it was sad to see him,
going back to
die so early.
Michael Wincott's character, even when you see him editing like his footage, it's also footage of like predators. You have like that bit where a snake is wrapping itself around a tiger.
No, specifically, he's watching footage of animals eating things while they look at the camera, so he's looking them in the eye. More symbolism of like, don't look these things in the eye. And for some reason, this guy doesn't give a shit and he wants to. You know, like he's like, I gotta get the perfect shot.
How nice was that little shed of his where he was editing in?
Right?
I was like, that is really fucking nice. Although it's probably not the best thing to have those film canisters next to him in direct sunlight.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that can't be good. That can't be good. More of the chewed up, spit out Hollywood thing. One of the little stories in this movie is that where their dad's proudest movie he worked on was Scorpion King. And he even wears the Scorpion King shirt in the final scene. And OJ wears it. And they basically they state that he was so excited, he even took his daughter's favorite horse away to bring to this movie. And then they didn't use horses in Scorpion King. They used camels. So it was this big thing where he's so proud, he's working on it, he's putting all this hard work, and they just kind of went, nah, and spat him out. And even still, that's their dad's proudest moment, you know, like,
and even then he's still trying to chase that.
Right.
Like, it's clear that that wasn't even the first. That seems to be like the first in a long line of times they've tried to get involved in film, and yet they're still kind of like, it's like they're still kind of on the poor side as far as the ranch is concerned. So it obviously hasn't really blown up for them yet. but even at the start of the film, he's just like, oh, if we get this one, this will be the one.
Yeah, right. It's the chase. It's that constant chase of it all. Like, and I think that that's also with this story. It's just like more of the Jaws reference, but it's like they're sort of fishing here. Not only fishing for opportunities in Hollywood, but fishing for Jean Jacket, like straight up, like and like trying to catch him and like fucking like literally like
Yeah.
now I brought up the don't look the predators in the eyes, wild animals can't be tame, and he doesn't look the crew in the eyes, but one of the things that I think is important that he's trying to say here is that he looks in these two terrible moments in the movie, he looks his sister directly in the eyes, like he does this I see you sort of thing. And I think it's great because it's one of those things that we're constantly like, don't look him in the eye for the whole movie. And then, but she's not a predator. He's not a predator. They work together. They look each other in the eyes, like I thought it's one of those things that I feel like a lot of people watch this movie and be like, yeah, it was fun, like they will be like, yeah, it was a good, horror movie / kaiju movie / monster movie.
Yeah,
but
I hear a lot of that.
They won't understand all this, like,
yeah, all like
lot.
the nuances of it. And I've also heard a bunch just like, oh, it was good, but this is probably Jordan Peele's weakest so far.
What?
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Hold on. Wait, I loved Us. Like, I loved that movie. I thought that was a lot of fun. This is better. I had so much. It just flew by. The movie fucking flew by. And I don't know if that's because it was the first movie I've watched on the big screen in my new house. It was the first movie I watched in the living room. We finally got the walls up in the living room and we put the TV up and we watched. First one was Nope. So I don't know if it was like, excited to watch something on a big screen, but it was, it was great.
Me coming out of it and having seen it like 3 times, even the first time I'd immediately come out of it just like, of the 3 movies, this is probably the most rewatchable because it has this like sense of adventure and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Whereas like Get Out and Us are a little more somber. And that was like the big thing. And I even had friends ask me as soon as I came out, including Rob, who was just like, is it the weakest of the 3? Because that's what I keep hearing. And I'm just like, well, it's really going like Get Out for me is still his best.
Yeah, no question. That's the one.
So it really came down between like Us and this. And to me, I came up with, it's like, well, I like Us. I think it has a lot of great ideas, but I do feel like it bites off more than it can chew and it kind of gets lost in itself. As good as it is. I feel like Nope is a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
And the intention is clearer.
That's perfect. That's a perfect way to say it, is that I think, and I've heard it's a slow burn, but really nothing is wasted in this movie. Every single scene leads to something later in the movie. Like this is not, there's no waste. This is like, even for a 2-hour movie, this is very trimmed and like exactly what it should be. And I feel like there's really no waste, like in this movie. And you got to give it something there, like that there's no fat on this fucking movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's what takes it a little bit further than Us. I think it's hard, of course, because I loved Us. I thought I loved the excessive amount of blood, like I loved the scenes through the house. I really did. And I love the twist, but Nope feels cleaner. And it's and I mean, I think it was made for cinephiles like me and you, like, cause it's a huge film loving movie. Not only is it referencing other movies, but they literally use every format of film / digital media that is available, like they are using everything, in this movie. Like, it's like they use the security cameras, they use a crank film camera, there's Panavision cameras during the Gordy scenes, there's he even wears a Panavision hat in the final scenes. Like there's a lot of love for like film in this. And
Mhm.
I think and
It's secretly
anybody would.
also a movie sort of about making a movie.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, right? Like, because they're not really making a movie, but they're trying to get the shot, you know. So it is
Yeah.
sort of a sort of about like getting the shot, you know, like which I can see why some people would be like, huh? But like as a filmmaker, you're like, yeah, I get that. You're like,
Yeah, yeah.
I've
As
done
soon as
weird
Michael
things for the
Wincott's
shot.
character is just like, "It's gonna be magic soon. I'm gonna
Yeah.
risk my life to get this shot at golden hour." It's just like, honestly, understandable. I get it.
I know everyone else is like, man, that man's crazy, and I'm like, I get it, I'll do it. Like, you're like, I wouldn't look it
You
in
don't
the eye,
understand.
but
It's golden hour right now. You crazy? We gotta get it.
gotta get it. I love that he doesn't he doesn't even call it golden hour. He just calls it magic. He's like, oh, it's almost
I've heard
magic.
it referred to as magic before.
Yeah, magic hour. You know, like I've heard
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and but it's funny. You know, he just calls it magic, and you're like, um, I I think that's I think there's a lot of reasons why we like this movie is that it's a great script, it's love for film, and it's a kaiju horror movie. You know, like it's got a lot of ingredients for me to like. I've got to say, like just speaking personally, I'm like, hey, there's a lot to love there, and
I
it's
think,
also
like,
got a great cast, just a great cast.
and I think the subversion of the UFO being an actual animal is also just really clever, and it also
Yeah.
helps the movie like remain simple and not get too big.
Yes, because
But also
it,
it's a good way to subvert your expectations, and it keeps things tense, especially as you get to like it evolving and spreading and well literally spreading its wings. And I love that
yeah.
it kept that design because it actually felt genuinely alien.
Yes. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
oh, this is something that I can't really explain anatomy wise for the most part, other than things that remind me of stuff. Like you had said, it reminded you of like jellyfish and like undersea things. It also
Yes.
kind of looks like a flower.
Yeah, and it kind of yeah, and it like transforms, you know, to be in a faster shape, you know, other than its like obvious true form of the queen. I want to say what I don't know what like. It sort of is like a queen. It had a gown. It had it like, but then also unfurled. It was what I gotta say. It really is an alien from Evangelion. You know, like I expected a
Mhm.
fucking giant laser to hit the square the minute the square popped up. I thought they were gonna be like, and then all of a sudden, you know, Shinji's running over the top of the mountains like, like but that's just because I've got
Get on the goddamn
Evangelion
horse,
is-
Shinji.
yeah, get on the goddamn horse, Shinji. Like, I one thing I will say I was kind of like but I kind of loved was the TMZ reporter is that it was like almost too much that he had the like totally mirror helmet, you know, like but like it was
Mhm.
sort of my thing about it is that like Jordan Peele is a comedian, you know, like and he tries to like slip in these slightly funny things into the movies and him like
Yeah.
sliding in this like TMZ character who's obviously obnoxious but then breaks out a fucking steady cam that has a camera attached to it so the steady cam doesn't fucking work, so he's got a Ronin that he counterbalanced badly. You know, like it's just like super funny to people who work in production because it's like one of those things that you're like, oh, a bumbling TMZ guy, and you're like, no, he's not even he's all obsessed with his cameras and getting the shot, but he doesn't know how to use any of it, you know, like he doesn't know how to fucking get it to work. But also I love that he was screaming about his camera as he's like dying. He's like, get the
Yeah.
shot.
Plus there
Get
was
the
also
shot.
the dig at reality TV earlier.
Yeah, they were like
Where they're just
reality,
like,
and they were
oh,
like,
reality.
ugh.
It's like, reality. It's just like
Document.
documentaries. Like, okay, that's better.
I did love that. I was like, yes. I was like, I feel that. I feel that. Now I do want to point out one little thing that is just a weird Easter egg, but it's kind of like fun, is that the only thing that survives the Juby Park getting eaten by Jean Jacket is a pig. You just see this pig on top of a roof. Do you know why? Because pigs can't look up. Like pigs can't look up in the sky, so it couldn't look Jean Jacket in the eye. So Jean Jacket was like, whatever, leave that pig alone. Like, I don't know why it's on a roof, but you're like, it probably got thrown there. You're like,
I don't think I even knew that pigs couldn't look up.
Yeah, they can't look up. It's like, you know, how like chickens kind of look up during rain and they almost kill themselves. It's like pigs can't, you know, like they can't look up into the sky. So sometimes they don't see things from above. That's why, sorry to bring it dark, but in Jungle, the book, you know, they made you read in high school about, you know, 1920s industrial revolution. They kill the pigs by hitting them in the head because they don't look up. You know, it's unlike a cow, which looks you directly in the eyes. Pigs are just like, do, 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 you know, like, and sorry to bring it dark. That's not what I meant. Like, but, you know, you're like, it's kind of a cool fun
it's
fact.
worth bringing up.
Yeah, worth bringing up. But another fun thing that is a little Easter egg is that the opening credits are passing through Jean Jacket, which I didn't realize until the end. I was like, what a weird opening, you know, like that it's but it's really, you're passing through Jean Jacket's body, and then at the end it's their ancestor on the horse, which I love them bringing that up. I know it's just my film school nerd being like, I love them talking about the first ever film, you know, like I fucking love that, you know, like, and then the best part is that with the end, with her getting the shot of the alien, she is basically recreating what her ancestor did, was taking a bunch of shots and then just putting them all together, you know, like I'm pretty sure the first shot is like 12 frames per second or something like that. It's something stupid. It's like so low frame rate. And, but here she's kind of recreating it by cranking and taking a picture, crank, take a picture, you know, like, which also, oh, such good tension. Oh, I love it. Like, I love the cranking to get the shot. I was like, oh, I love that. He knows how to rank up the tension, and I thought that was great. But it's funny.
So simple too.
Yeah, something so simple. But it's funny because that's the only shot of the alien. Because if you watch, all the footage gets fucking destroyed otherwise. The camera gets sucked up with Angel. Am I saying that right? Is it Angel, the guy with the blonde hair?
Yeah, it's Angel.
She just calls him that when she's like, 5 stars, Angel, 5 stars. That's first off, one of the best lines in the whole movie. I don't know why. Her being like, he's like, my manager's going to ask you to rate me. And she's like, 5 stars, Angel, 5 stars. I don't know why that's stuck in my head constantly now.
That and fucking CW really stuck with me.
Yeah, right. Fucking CW. I was like, Jesus Christ. I thought that was really funny. There's a lot of good lines in this movie. Like, that's my thing, is that I liked Us. But if you asked me, like, every beat of Us, I wouldn't remember every beat. I remember, of course, the important parts, you know, going into the underground, you know, the fairground and everything like that. But this is a lot more memorable in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think it helps that the type of story it's trying to tell has a lot of really cool key set pieces. Like, you can immediately think of, oh, the first time they encounter it at night, which also, I could tell that it was day for night, but it was very well done.
But, so that was interesting. I know this is just film nerd shit, but they did such a weird thing to make the day for night. So they built a special camera that shot day, went through an ND filter, they attached that to a 3D camera that was also doing, with the second lens, doing another ND filter. And then when they slapped it all together, it still was bright enough to look right, but was night. Which I was like, holy shit, guys. So basically, the cinematographer created a camera to shoot for day for night. I don't know why it's taken this. I mean, of course I know why it's taken this long, because 3D cameras haven't come that along to be able to shoot in IMAX, because this movie was shot in IMAX film. It's like, so it's really cool that he basically created a day for night IMAX camera. Like, that's fucking wild. You know,
that's really interesting. I love just behind the scenes
innovations
to stuff like that. Just like weird ways to like get a certain effect. Like it's sort of a different thing, but it reminds me of the way Megalobox was made.
Yeah.
Where the idea was like they animated it like normal, and then it was all about what they did in the post process.
Oh,
so
interesting.
So it's like not only did they like put it through at a lower resolution, but that's also like how they streamed it as well because they wanted to give Megalobox that like old school, like, oh, this looks, they want to make it kind of look like an anime like it came out of the 90s.
Yeah, right. I need to get to Megalobox. I've been kind of caught up with. I'm actually watching anime shows as they come out. I know, fucking wild, but I'm actually watching Chainsaw Man and Witch from Mercury as they come out. So that's pretty big for me. And also they're subbed, so I know you'd be proud. I actually watching sub for 2 animes at the
Oh
moment.
shit.
But
Get
Chainsaw
to
Man,
JoJo's then.
yeah, right. Time to get to JoJo's. But it stops me from building. But whatever. I can actually pay attention and watch. But the Chainsaw Man English dub comes out on the 26th, so I'll watch. I'll keep watching, but I'm gonna I love Chainsaw Man so much, I'm just gonna rewatch the English dub. I'm just gonna be like, yep, okay. Like, I know a bunch of people are like, oh, I rewatched the Chainsaw Man episode to like pick up on more details. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait till the English dub comes out, because then I'm gonna watch it again. Like, I ain't gonna not watch this in English. Like, like you're like, no. But besides the point, is there anything else you kind of want to bring up for this movie?
I didn't want to go by without talking about the set piece in the rain
Yes,
with Jean Jacket right above the house as like blood rains down on it and like the things that it's like spat out. I love that whole sequence.
How good is that scene? The shot from his car as he sees the rain coming down and there's just the house covered, being poured on in red, is so fucking sick. I love that shot.
And even just looking up and seeing just like total darkness, but just the outline
right
of Jean Jacket
God.
itself, like an eclipse.
Oh my God. Now, I know you haven't read it yet, but Junji Ito's one of his newer books, Censor, is about like, a hair that you can you touch people with the hair and you can communicate with fucking space. And but the villain is like a gigantic no. I'm thinking of the wrong one. Rima is the movie. I'm sorry. I'm gonna
REIMA, I would imagine,
yes,
or REMA.
Yes. And it's like literally they think it's a planet out in space, and it turns out it's like a gigantic eye that just keeps eating things. That's what it reminded me of. Is this gigantic eye hanging over the entire planet? I was like, oh shit. So I don't know if he was making a direct reference there, but because that is a popular book by Junji Ito. It's like one of his best selling. So I was like, this could be a reference.
And there's already some weeb shit in this movie already.
Right? I was like, this is very weeby, so this could be a reference. But that's one of the things that like added my love to this, is that this kaiju is so frightening looking. For sometimes looking just like a cowboy hat, there's moments where you're like, fuck. Like, you're just like, Jesus Christ, like, because there is some moments where it just looks like a flying cowboy hat, like, as much as it looks like a fish or a manta ray, it's like they do that in the posters. Stephen Yu has his hat on, and it's definitely just Jean Jacket, actually, not actually his hat. And I really love that poster because it's so like right in your face about it, and I didn't fucking realize. But I it's like one of those things that it does look like, it looks bad in some spots, like not bad. It just looks like a hat, like, and then. But I will say the CGI looked pretty darn good most of the time. Like it looked great.
It's tough, especially when you're dealing with the way they execute, the way it moves. Like I think about the first big night sequence when they're seeing it move around. The fact that it's so smooth, and it just kind of glides through the air, but it still feels like it's a genuine thing that has weight to it, is very tough.
Yeah, very tough. I really loved kind of these like animated moments that like popped up in this movie, like that just felt like full CGI shots that looked great. The other thing that I thought looked great was the cinematography. So good here. First off, just for it, like it looks great the whole time, but one of my favorite things it does is it kind of goes into POV a lot of the times. Like it will go from being like just, over his shoulder. But then when he's looking up to the sky, it kind of moves in front of him and then looks up into the sky to watch Jean Jacket and then comes back down. And I really love that about the cinematography. First off, it's very John Carpenter to go all of a sudden like POV, like, and I really love that, especially with his line of somebody being like, best horror director of all living is Jordan Peele, and he was like, and he tweeted back at them being like, John Carpenter is still alive, so no. Like, and you're like respect.
I don't generally like advocate for bullying online. But like that got me so fucking mad that I'm glad everyone shat on him for it.
Because I really do. I think Jordan Peele is one of the best horror directors alive right now. Yes, I do. But John Carpenter's alive, and he made the fucking thing. Like you're like, yeah.
And plus it's also a mix of like recency bias, obviously.
Yeah.
And I loved the fucking replies. That was just the screenshot of the dad talking to Chris from Get Out and just being like, I would have mentioned a fourth Jordan Peele movie if I could have.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. They're like,
but I was trying to look up the cinematographer. I'm like, oh, of course it's fucking Hoytema. I even have struggle with that name, but he was the cinematographer for Let the Right One In and
beautiful.
Her. And I believe he also did Interstellar, I think.
Oh, wow. Holy shit, dude. What a resume. What a fucking resume. That if you had just mentioned Her, I would have been like, oh, that's amazing. And then you throw in Interstellar and you're like, fuck, dude. That man's fucking crazy. Like, and that's why I'm like, okay, that's the guy that makes up a day for night camera, like in the middle of the shoot, Like,
yeah, exactly.
You're like, fuck. But yeah, I really dug this movie. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's the best of the year. I haven't watched many more horror movies this year, so I don't know if it's the best horror of the year, but it is the most highest grossing, and I had a lot of fun. Like, now I know you've watched a lot of the modern horror movies for this year, so what would you say? Does this beat X and Pearl? Did they both come out this year? No, X was last year and Pearl is this year.
X and Pearl both came out this year.
Oh, okay.
Pearl was shot.
Pearl was
shot at the same time as X in secret.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. I was like, how did he fucking do that? You're like, dude, how'd you make two movies like that so quick? Just like, Jesus. But what would you say?
Especially not them collectively. And even as far as like,
did you see Barbarian? I haven't seen Barbarian yet.
I haven't seen Barbarian yet.
I've heard that's the one. I've heard that's the winner for best horror movie of the year. So maybe we'll have to watch that and talk about it later. But but I think this is a contender at least, for best of the year. But what would you say? Does this beat out the other movies for best horror? Not best of movie or anything like that, just horror.
No, collectively I really love the 1-2 punch of X and Pearl. They're really good.
Nice. Okay.
And they're a lot simpler.
Yeah,
like the actual like threats in X and Pearl are very simple.
Cool. Yeah. And that's the thing here is that as much as there's like horror moments, like I and like especially with the Gordy scene, I wouldn't, after seeing it, I wouldn't categorize it as a horror movie. Like I would, but it's like it's a kaiju movie. It's even sci-fi. Like it's
and even with other movies, even though I fully admit I didn't completely comprehend what it was going for, like I'm still thinking about the imagery in Men.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, you were excited about that one.
Well, it's Alex Garland.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean the other one that I saw this year, what's the one on Shudder? Mad God or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mad God.
I've seen Mad God.
So I don't know if that counts as coming out this year. I think it's officially came out in 2021. Yeah, it says that but then it of course came out in parts since like 2014. So you can't fuck. It's hard to categorize it. But that's one that's really stuck with me watching this year. But that's just because the animation and the imagery was just so like, the fuck, like you're just like, Jesus fuck, like this is so fucked up. But that's beside the point. But I think that's pretty much it on our
Yeah.
thoughts on Nope. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's been a break from me moving in, but we want to be back and doing more episodes, and we will have more content coming towards you as the house starts finally being together and everything. I'll have some time to actually put together, shorts like our openings things and and many other things like that. Because I want to do more with this Galaxy Geek channel. I have a thought of streaming on here to do some just Gundam stuff, so look forward to that in the future once my shelves are actually built and there's Gundam behind me, because I can't do a Gundam show without a ton of Gundam behind me. What the fuck? But basically subscribe, like, follow, do the algorithm thing,
The usual, feed the beast.
And but if you guys want to follow us on our own personal channels, I'm Yep Frank or Yep Gundam on Twitter and Instagram.
I am Mod Karaika on Twitter and Instagram. It's October, so I do the thing I've been doing for a couple years where I'm posting about the movies I'm going through, randomized with fake names as we both like flip a coin to see what we're gonna pick. So sometimes what we end up watching each night is a really weird, like double, triple, or quadruple feature, but that kind of what makes it fun.
Yeah, I can't believe you're slamming 4 movies in a night, pretty much a lot of these nights in October. That's pretty wild, but that's good stuff. I applaud you, sir. That is takes a lot of effort. But guys, thank you so much for checking out this episode, for listening this long. I know that not everyone, once we start doing the wrap-up voice, I'm sure everyone is like, peace. But thank you guys, seriously. And remember, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on any podcast platform. So thank you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your week.
See you next time.
Adios.